So when Ramananda Raya brought the suggestion of Varnashram up, he said it was not possible in this age to introduce this.
Yes, he did not say possible, iha bahya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was interested only in the spiritual platform. He had no idea of material side. He rejected material side.
But don't we do that also?
No, our position is different. We are trying to implement Krishna consciousness in everything. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally took sannyas. He rejected completely material, nishkinchana. But we are not going to be nishkinchana. We are trying to cement the troubled position of the society. That is also in the prescription of Bhagavad Gita. We are not rejecting the whole society. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected everything. Iha bahya. Rejected means I do not take much interest in this. Bahya, it is external. He was simply interested in the internal, the spiritual. But our duty is that we shall arrange the external affairs also so nicely that one day they will come to the spiritual platform very easily, paving the way. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personality like that, they have nothing to do with this material world. But we are preaching. Therefore, we must pave the situation in such a way that gradually they will be promoted to the spiritual plane, which is not required.
Varnashram is not required?
Not required. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu denied. I am not Brahman, I am not Kshatriya, I am not this, I am not this. He rejected. But in the Bhagavad Gita, the Chaturu Varna Maya Srishtam. So we are preaching Krishna consciousness. It must be done. But in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's practical preaching, he only introduced them chanting. That is not possible for ordinary man.
Prabhuji, can chanting replace Varnashram?
Yes, it can replace. But who will chant? Who will chant?
But if they won't chant, then neither will they train up in Varnashram.
The chanting will be there, but you cannot expect that people will chant like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They cannot even chant 16 rounds. And these rascals, they are going to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. People are not so advanced. If you imitate Haridas Thakur to chant, it is not possible.
So we tell them, go on with your job, but chant also.
Yes, Thake Aparnar Kaje, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Aparnar Kaje ki. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended, Sthana Sthita. And if you do not remain in the sthan, then Sahajas chanting will come. Just like the Sahajas also have got the beads, but they have got 3 dozen women. This chanting will go on. That is bad. Therefore, Varnashram Dharma is required. Simply show what you will not do. So, Varnashram Dharma should be introduced all over the world. Chanting will go on. That is not stopped. But at the same time, the Varnashram Dharma must be established to make the way easy.
So Varnashram should be introduced starting with ISKCON community.
Yes. Brahman, Kshatriya, there must be regular education.
But in our community, if we are training up as Vaishnavas, then how will we be able to make these divisions in our societies?
Vaishnava is not so easy. The Varnashram Dharma should be established to become a Vaishnava. It is not easy to become Vaishnava.
No, it's not a cheap thing.
Yes, therefore this should be made. Vaishnava to become Vaishnava, it is not so easy. If Vaishnava to become Vaishnava is so easy, then why so many fall down? It is not easy. The sannyasa is for the highest qualified Brahman. And simply by dressing like a Vaishnava, that is fall down.
So the Varnashram system is like for the Kanishta Adhikari, when one is on the platform of neophyte.
Yes, Kanishta Adhikari, yes.
Varnashram system is beneficial.
Kanishta Adhikari means he must be Brahman. That is Kanishta Adhikari. The spiritual life, Kanishta Adhikari means he must be a qualified Brahman. That is Kanishta. what is esteemed as very high position in the material world, Brahman, is Kanishta Adhikari. Acharyam eva haraye pujam ya shraddhaye hate natad bhakshteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakruta smrta. The Brahman means from the material stage gradually he is elevated to the spiritual stage, and below the Brahman there is no question of Vaishnava. As earlier explained, Shrunamata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravan Kirtanat Hrudayantasto hi avaddarani vidhnoti surutsatam. By becoming a Brahman, hearing, or by hearing, he becomes a Brahman. So, Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu, when these base qualities are finished almost, not complete, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, by hearing from Bhagavata or by serving the spiritual master and Krishna consciousness moment, then he becomes fixed up in devotional service. This devotional service is the first grade quality of Sattvagun. Sthitam Sattve Prasiddhati, then he is to be understood to be in the Sattvagun. That is perfect Brahmanical life. Then he will be pleased, Prasiddhati. In this way, gradual step. And Brahman is a Kanishtadhikari stage.
In our ISKCON, one becomes a Brahman after a year. It's not very hard, everyone becomes a Brahman.
That is due to chanting. That lift very easy.
Where will we introduce Varnashram system then?
In our society, among our members.
But then if everybody is being raised to Brahmanical platform,
Not everybody. Why are you misunderstanding? Varnashram, not everybody Brahman.
no, but in our society practically everyone is being raised to that platform. So then one might ask, what is...
That is, everybody is being raised, but they are falling down. But we see by experience that they are falling down. There must be systematic. Why falling down? Because he is not fit for that position. Therefore he has fallen. Better remain in his position and be perfect. I want everyone to become Vaishnava. Prabhupada said, I want everyone to become Vaishnava. But because he is a Shudra, it is not possible to bring him immediately to the platform of Brahman or Vaishnava. Therefore falling down. Therefore system must be. But even if he remains a Shudra, he is a Vaishnava. Why he should artificially become a Brahman and Sannyasi and fall down? This has to be checked. Not that Shudra man is forced to become a Brahman. You cannot improve. That is not possible. Why artificially bring them? There is no need. Krishna says, Swesve karmanye abhirata. So why artificially he should be called a Brahman? Why artificially he should be made a Brahman or he should be made a sannyasi and fall down and become ludicrous? That is the point. Why Shudra should be artificially become a Brahman?
Prabhuji, if he is a Vaishnava, but a Shudra quality, then how will he attain perfection in spiritual life?
At the present moment, the idea is if one remains a Shudra, then he cannot get perfection. No, even Shudra can get perfection provided he does the work of Shudra perfectly. But even if he remains a Shudra and does accordingly, he will get the same position as a devotee. Swakarmana tamabhyarchasam. He will get the perfection. The perfection is available in your natural life. Question is that here it is clearly said, Swesve karmanya abhirata. Brahman has his duty, Kshatriya has his duty, Vaishya has his duty, Shudra has his duty, and if he performs his duty nicely, then he is also perfect. Let them do according to Shastra the work of Shudra or Vaishya, he will get the perfect. Perfection is not checked. Better let him live in his position and become perfect. That's good. That looks very nice. And that is possible. That's possible. Varanashrama acharavata purushena parahapuman Vishnura aradate. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, can be worshipped if you perfectly follow the rules and regulations of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. Here it is also stated, Swesve karmani. You work as a perfect Brahman or a perfect Kshatriya, perfect Shudra, you get perfection. Yes, he is a Shudra, a clerk, but as a Shudra he can get the perfection. Perfection is not checked.
But you said without being a Brahman one cannot be Vaishnava. Then if he is a Shudra, then how he will be Vaishnava? Should he not be made into a Brahman?
Therefore, why a Shudra artificially should be made a Brahman? Let him remain a Shudra. And if he follows strictly the rules and regulations of Shudra, he will also be as good as a Brahman. Yes, Vaishnava everyone, even if he is not Brahman. Here the bodily conception is going on. I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm this, I'm that. Jivera Swarup Hare Krishna Nityadas. But you have to gradually bring him to that pure consciousness that I am servant of Krishna.
But it seems to be difficult to introduce this Varnashram in the society today.
So it is very difficult to introduce Varnashram. But at least there must be some idea. Just like in the university, nobody is going to study higher mathematics, higher English literature. But still, government does not close it. So that is a very broad idea. Now we are speaking of some of them, training them. That is another thing. That is small scale. For the big scale, this is the required. In big scale, you cannot make all of them as Brahmins or sannyasis. No, that is not possible. This is a small scale. How many percentage of people of the world we are controlling? Very insignificant. But if you want to make the whole human society perfect, then this Krishna consciousness movement should be introduced according to Krishna's instruction. If you want to do it in a large scale for the benefit of human society. Now we are picking up some of them best. That is another thing. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Para Upkara, why a certain section should be picked up? The whole mass of people will get the benefit of it. Then it is required, systematic. Sweswe karmanya abhirata samsiddhim labhate nara. Paropkara means mass benefit. Not there is certain section. Then we have to introduce this Varnashram Dharma. It must be done perfectly and it is possible and people will be happy.
It requires powerful influence in the society to...
Yes, if the leaders of the society, they agree, they are barking like dogs in the United Nations. They should take rightly the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Then everything will be alright. They are simply barking like dogs. What benefit is there? What benefit people have derived from the United Nations? Nothing. So if they want actually world peace, world unity, they must take the formula given by Krishna. That is our duty. Because we are preaching Krishna consciousness, so our duty is to convince that you are uselessly wasting your time for unity, for benefit of human. You take this, you'll be happy. We are safe. We have taken to Krishna's lotus feet shelter. There is no doubt. But just like Prahlad Maharaj, he said that I am quite happy. I have no problem. But I am thinking of these rascals. Tamo vimudha chetas indriyartha. They have made the whole aim of life sense gratification. Indriyartha. And for the purpose of few years, they are making huge arrangement. How we shall become happy. And next life, a dog. It is risky. So, as Krishna conscious men, we should try to save them. That is the duty. But this civilization, as it is going on, is very risky. They do not know how nature's law is working. How he is going to be dog in the next life. He does not know. Mudhoyam nabhijanati. To save the mass of people from falling down to the repetition of birth and death, that is welfare activity. To save them by Krishna consciousness, we have to keep this idea at least, Varnashram, that here is the position.
At this time, should we try to introduce it in our centers or not?
Always we shall try. Human society will be always there. We have to serve them. Paropkara. We have to keep them in the right position. At least they will see this is the ideal. At least ideal must be there. That we are doing. Ideal. We are giving the ideal.
But no one's listening and no one's taking it up except a few.
But you take. You show them. It does not mean that we are going to take them, but we are simply giving the ideas. We are not going to be Shudra, but to show just like you play in the drama. You are playing the part of a king. You are not king.
No.
So similarly, just to give them idea, we have to play like that. Not necessarily that we are going to be Shudra. So that is it. That is the thing. We are servant of Krishna. That's all. And as servant of Krishna, we have to execute the order of Krishna.
So we can ideally organize ourselves, and then for the rest of the people, all we can do is hope that they will follow it, right?
Yes, set the example. Set the example. Just like a Vaishnava may be cleaning stool and urine. Does it mean that he is a sweeper? He is a Vaishnava. Similarly, Apani Achari Jive Shikhaila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I am not sannyasi, but he took sannyas. Actually, he is God. So, what is the benefit of becoming sannyasi? For God. But he became that. In order to serve the mass of people, to bring them to the ideal position, we should try to introduce this Varanashram. Not that we are going to be candidates of Varanashram. It is not our business. But to teach them how the world will be in peaceful position, we have to introduce. Here is a very nice institution for the benefit of the whole society human. Take it. You see, why devotees set up Varanashram? See, people, they had the opportunity to become Krishna conscious. But by the setup of this rascal civilization, they are being killed spiritually. Therefore, we have to take it up. Devotee, personally, he has no problem. But he pushes himself in this degraded society to teach them how to live, how to become gentleman. Therefore, otherwise, we have no business. But if we don't give them the opportunity, they will never be able to come to Krishna consciousness. But our position is that we are above Varanashram. But for management or ideal society, we are introducing this. So far we are concerned, Krishna conscious men, we are above Varanashram. But to show the people that we are not escaping, we can take part in any order of life. That is our position. We do not belong to any Varana and ashram. But we have to show these rascals. He is doing everything, but his aim is to please Krishna. Similarly, even if we take to Varanashram, we do not belong to any, just like Krishna says, Maya Srushtam, I have inaugurated, but Krishna has nothing to do with Varanashram. Similarly, if we act as Varanashram, still we have nothing to do with Varanashram. So you should remain always sannyasi within. Outwardly, for others' convenience, you may do something. Similarly, we are accepting this Varanashram. We are not Varanashram. We are above Varanashram. But to give others facility to come to the stage of Krishna consciousness, this program must be done. We are all devotees. We are not going to belong to this Varanashram.
I understand. Yes.
Good. So now, before we move to the next section, are there any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we only talk of Varnashram Dharma, but what is this Hindu Dharma?
The so-called Hindu Dharma, that is a gift of the Mohammedans. We don't find the word Hindu in any Vedic scripture. This Hindu word has come from the Mohammedan countries. They used to say the people of this part of the world means across the river Indus, they called Hindus or Hindus. So actually, that is not Hindu Dharma. From the Vedic literature, we understand that Varnashram Dharma, Varnashram, the 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas, Varnashrama Acharavada. In the Vishnu Puran, you will find this word. In the Bhagavad Gita, you will find. In the Bhagavad, you will find. So really, Indian civilization or Aryan civilization or Vedic civilization means Varnashram Dharma.
Aryan. Oh, Prabhuji, what does Aryan mean?
Aryan means those who are advanced. Non-Aryan means those who are not. This is the Sanskrit meaning, Arya. And Shudras, Aryans are divided into 4 castes. Brahman, Kshatriya, the mercantile class, and the Shudras. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Anarya Jushtamaswaryam Akirtim Karamarjuna. My dear Arjun, you are my friend, personal friend, and you are proposing this, which is befitting to Anarya. Anarya Jushtam. It is not Aryan. You are Kshatriya. You are meant for fighting for justice, and you are denying to fight? Oh, this is not good. Anarya Jushtam. This kind of proposal, cowardice, can be proposed by Anarya. Arya means the advanced. One who is advanced in knowledge, in civilization, they are called Arya. Aryan civilization. So, in the Aryan civilization, there are 4 divisions to maintain the society in correct balance. That is also stated in Bhagavad Gita. Chaturvarnamaya Sushtam Guna Karma Vibhagsha. The society must be divided into four classes of men. The first class means most intelligent class of men. They should be trained up as Brahman. Shamo Damo Satyam Shaucham Tiriksha Arjavam Jnana Vijnana Astikyam Brahma Karma Subhavajam. So this is the beginning of civilization. Not that all Shudras, as it is now in this age. Kalau Shudra Sambhava. Kalyug, there is no training how to qualify a section of person to become first class Brahman. These are the instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. Everything practical. If you follow Bhagavad Gita from all angles of vision, social, political, economical, religious, cultural, you will be perfect. This is Bhagavad Gita. We are therefore taken up this mission to preach Bhagavad Gita as it is, to solve all problems of the world. That is Aryan civilization. Aryan civilization means following the principles of Bhagavad Gita.
Prabhuji, what is the Asuri Varnashram? I've heard of it. And what is the difference between Asuri and Devi Varnashram?
In India, the Varnashram system has now been taken in a perverted way. And thus, a man born in the family of a Brahman, the highest social order, claims that he should be accepted as a Brahman. But this claim is not accepted in the Shastra, scriptures. One's forefather may have been Brahman, according to Gotra, or the family's hereditary order. But real Varnashram Dharma is based on the factual quality one has attained, regardless of birth or heredity. In Daivi Varnashram, there cannot be acknowledgement of social status according to birthright, because in Bhagavad Gita it is said that the determining consideration are guna and karma, one's qualities and work. The acharyas who advocate the Daivi Varnashram, the social order of Chaturvarna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, do not accept the proposition of an Asuri Varnashram, which maintains that social order of Varna indicated by birth. So these things are required, and they should be classified by quality and work. In this way, we have to organize the society. Then there will be no scarcity of real human being. Otherwise, they will remain animal. This is Varnashram.
This is Varnashram. I understand. But we follow Sthanistita, which is not exactly Varnashram. Then what kind of society is that?
So, a systematic society means Varnashram Dharma. But there is another way. That is another way. That is called Transcendental Society or Vaishnava Society. As it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Agam Dunvanti Kartsnyena Niharameva Bhaskaraha. Simply by becoming devotees of Vasudeva Parayana, everything can be adjusted. When the Ramananda Rai answered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the systematic society of human being, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected. He said, Eho bhaiya, aage kahar. So Ramananda Rai replied, quoting from other verses from Shastra, Karma, Tyaga, Sannyasa, in this way, step by step. But when he says, Sane sthita shrutikadam tanuvak manobhir, when the Ramananda Rai said that it doesn't require any change, simply if people giving up his own endeavor to understand what is God, what is life, simply if he remains humbly and hears from real authority, then by hearing only he can conquer Ajita. Ajita is Bhagwan. So this Krishna consciousness movement is giving chance to everyone to hear from the authoritative sources, from the scriptures. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. These are authorities.
Prabhuji, what is Sadhu, Shastra and Guru?
Sadhu means who speaks on the basis of Shastra. Guru means who speaks on the basis of Shastra. They are Sadhu, Guru, Shastra. And Shastra means the statements of authorities. That is Shastra. Just like Bhagavad Gita. It is Shastra because it is spoken by the Supreme Guru, Krishna.
Prabhuji, you said that the Brahman is in the mode of goodness. Similarly, which modes are the other classes situated?
The Lord is the creator of everything. He is therefore the creator of the four divisions of social order, beginning with the intelligent class of men, technically called Brahmanas due to their being situated in the mode of goodness. Next is the administrative class, technically called Kshatriyas due to their being situated in the mode of passion. The mercantile men called Vaishyas are situated in the mixed mode of passion and ignorance. and the Shudras or the laborer class are situated in the ignorant mode of material nature.
Prabhuji, a Brahman is in Sattvagun. How is it that anybody in any mode who becomes a Vaishnava is considered superior to a Brahman? Like some, say, meat eater or a drunkard becomes a Vaishnava. How does he immediately become superior to a qualified Brahman in Varnashram?
A person in Krishna consciousness, however, is above even the Brahmanas. Although Brahmanas by quality are supposed to know about Brahman, the Supreme Absolute Truth, most of them approach only the impersonal Brahman manifestation of Lord Krishna. But a man who transcends the limited knowledge of Brahman and reaches the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, becomes a person in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, a Vaishnava. Krishna consciousness includes knowledge of all different penetrative expansions of Krishna, namely Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, etc.
Oh, you said that a person progresses through the three levels of God realization from Brahman realization. Is that true also for a Vaishnava? Does he first attain Brahman realization and then Paramatma, or does he?
Vaishnava immediately given lift to Supreme Person, and because he understands Supreme Person, automatically he understands what is Paramatma and what is Brahman. Others they go step by step, but Vaishnava is given immediate lift. Just like somebody is earning money, $10, $15, $20, and he is thinking of accumulating $100,000. So if somebody gives him immediately $100,000, take this. Then $10, $15, $20, $100, $1,000 are all in. Kasmin tu bhagavo vidnyate sarvamidam vidnyatam bhavati. So immediately understand what is Paramatma, immediately understand what is Brahman. Devotee is given immediately, and that also in a simple way, in his form of name, Namarupe. You simply chant Hare Krishna. So devotee is privileged so much, especially in this age, that you take God, the Supreme Absolute Truth, by chanting Hare Krishna. If you do it properly, then everything is done.
Prabhuji, what is the difference between a Dvija and a Brahman?
The first birth is by father and mother, and the second birth is by the spiritual master and Vedic knowledge. There is also mother. The Vedic knowledge is mother. The spiritual master is the father. So, sanskarat bhavet dvija. The spiritual master trains the student gradually. That is called initiation. That is called dvija. So then, by initiation, he becomes dvija, second birth. Then he is allowed to study the Vedic literature. And when he is conversant with the study of Vedic literature, he is called Vipra. And when one has become a Vipra, because that is just the previous stage of becoming Brahman, he acquires 12 kinds of qualities. Satya, Shama, Dama, Tiriksha. The first quality is truthfulness. The second quality is controlling the senses, controlling the mind. Shama, Dama, Titiksha, to be very tolerant. Arjama, very simple, full of knowledge, full of theism. So many qualities. These qualities are mentioned.
Prabhuji, is accepting a guru necessary in all this?
Without accepting Guru, there is no possibility of understanding Bhakti Yoga. Naishamatistavat urukramangrim nishkinchananam padarajobhishekam. Unless one touches the lotus feet of Nishkinchan Vaishnava, there is no question of Bhakti Yoga. That is not possible. Naishamatistavat urukramangrim. Urukramangrim means Krishna's lotus feet. One cannot be attached unless he takes the dust of a Nishkinchan Vaishnava. That is first.
Prabhuji, what is the test of a guru? Who is a guru?
I already told you that. One who knows Krishna Tattva is a guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met him on the banks of Godavari river. And the talk was going on. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the position of a student. And he was offered, Ramananda Rai was offered the position of a teacher. Although he was governor, Grihastha, and according to our social custom, Karana, Shudra, so he was hesitant. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is the statement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Shudra, Nyasi Kenanai, Jai Krishna Tattvavetti, Sai Guru Hai. Why are you hesitant? You are Guru. It doesn't matter that you are a grihastha, you are a governor, you are dealing in politics. But I know that you are Krishna Tattva Vedta. You know the science of Krishna. Therefore, you are Guru. That is the test. To become Guru, it doesn't matter one has to come out of Brahman family or high family or Hindu family or this family or that family. No. Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yei Krishna Tattva Veti. Never mind what is. He may be European, may be American, he may be Shudra, he may be whatever. That is past life. Now, when one has become Krishna Tattva Vedta, really Krishna conscious, he comes to the transcendental platform.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not take initiation from Ramananda Raya. Why should Srila Prabhupada say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the position of student and Ramananda Raya the teacher?
Our sampradaya is Shiksha Sampradaya. And as the pastime goes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears to take Shiksha or teachings from Ramananda Raya. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said it like that. And so, Sri Ramananda Raya is considered a guru by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he knew Krishna Tattva. Does it make sense to you?
Yes. Prabhuji, you told that we follow the Pancharatriki system and not the Vedic system. Why can't we follow the Vedic system? Is it because of Kali Yuga?
Yes. So in this age, nobody is observing Garbhadana ceremony. Therefore, it is to be understood that everyone is born Shudra. Therefore, Pancharatriki Vidhi. Vedic system cannot be applied because nobody is born Brahman. Who knows how he is born? There is no ceremony. So because Garbhadana ceremony is not current at the present age, therefore everyone should be accepted as born Shudra, either in any place, either here or India or anywhere. But Pancharatrika system, it gives chance to a person if he has got symptoms. Just like in the Jabala Upanishad. This by symptoms he was accepted Brahman. A small boy like this, Satyakama Jabala. Satyakama, he went to Gautam Muni. My dear sir, will you initiate me? Just like the small boy can ask us. Oh, he was very kind. Oh yes, very nice boy. What is your father's name? Oh, I do not know. Oh, just ask your mother, go. Mother says, I do not know whose son you are. He came back. What is your mother says? Oh, my mother says she does not know who is my father. Oh, you are Brahman. Oh, you are Brahman. Come on, I shall initiate you. He was so truthful. That is real symptom of a Brahman. Satya, Shama. He does not disclose that I do not know. Everyone will try to hide if he does not know his father's name. But here is a boy. Oh, he said, oh, you are Brahman. Come on, I shall initiate you. This is Lakshana, symptom. Such a truthful boy. Never mind what he is born, how he is born. This system is not new. Therefore, we shall have to accept by symptom. If one is inclined to go to Krishna, he is chanting, he is doing, following the principles, then according to Nara's version, Yasyahi yal lakshana syat. Here is the lakshan, symptom. Varnabhiyanjakam. To understand what class he belongs. Now, he is truthful. He belongs to Brahman class. He is truthful. Therefore, he belongs to Brahman class. Yasyahi yal lakshana syat. Varnabhiyanjakam. Abhivyanjakam means just to find out what class of man he is. If he is truthful, he is Brahman. Lakshana. The lakshan is there. The symptom is there. Yasyahi yal lakshana varnabhyanjaka tatyenaiva vinirdishet. One should take him into that classification. He is truthful. Oh, he is immediately to the Brahmanical place. If he is a liar, immediately he is Pancham, less than Shudra. You see? So these things were done. It is Varnabhiyanjikam, by the symptom, quality, qualification. It is not by birth. One of the items of this mission, Krishna consciousness, is to establish a real Varnashram by qualification. So everywhere, in each center, this system should be introduced and there must be practical application of the Varnashram. At the same time, this program of devotional service, then it will go on very nicely.
Should devotees be formally designated in a particular occupation?
No, devotees are devotees. Actually, devotees are above Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. But for management of material things, we have to divide. Just like in the body, there are divisions. There are Krishna. Krishna was acting as Kshatriya. In his boyhood, he was acting like a Vaishya. But Krishna is neither Kshatriya nor Brahman. This is the example. He was a coward boy. That is the business of Vaishya. And when he was fighting in the battlefield, he was Kshatriya. He was marrying a Kshatriya. So, although he was acting sometimes as Kshatriya, sometimes as Vaishya, but he is neither of them. So, devotee is like that. He may act in any position, but he is above all the material conception of life. That is perfection.
So for management purpose, we divide devotees in different varnas and like Shudras, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas. But we are awarding Brahman initiation, second initiation to everyone. So isn't that...
No. Brahman initiation should go on. Even you do not understand what I have said. That is for Vaishnava. A Vaishnava and Vishnu, just like Krishna is Vishnu. He is not human being. But he was acting like human being. Similarly, Vaishnava is transcendental. But for purpose of management of material world, one should be acting like Brahman, one should be acting like Kshatriya. That is required. Just like actually we are doing so. Some of you are preaching, some of you are cleansing the temple. It does not mean that a sannyasi who is preaching, he is better than the man who is cleansing. Their position as Vaishnavas is the same. But for management, one is cleansing, one is seeing the construction, one is going for preaching, like that. That should be there. It is not that because I have taken sannyas, therefore I cannot anymore do anything. If need be, he has to act as Kshatriya or Shudra. It does not matter.
Oh.
Does not matter. But for management, this division must be there. Otherwise, it will be mismanagement. Yes, a Vaishnava coming to the position of doing work of a Shudra does not mean that he has become a Shudra. He is Vaishnava. Try to understand this point. Just like in the stage, if you want to play something, one must become king, one must become queen, one must be, but neither of them king or queen. That is stage play. Similarly, to manage things in the material world, we have to guna karma. Guna there must be. Therefore, karma should be done, executed according to quality. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, Prabhuji, I understand. The Brahman thread is for being a Vaishnava, and for management purpose we divide based on guna karma and simply act as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra.
Right.
But Prabhuji, if the devotee is simply acting as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but does not consider himself as such, then what is he?
Although I am acting just like a perfect Brahman or perfect Kshatriya or perfect Vaishya, still I am imperfect. Because my perfection is not to act as Vaishya, Brahman, Kshatriya, American, Indian, but to act as servant of Krishna. That is liberation. That is liberation. Sarvopati vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Nirmala means liberation. That Nirmal means Sarvopati Nirmuktam. The Vaishnava process is to become Nirmala. Tat Pravatyena. A real, pure Vaishnava simply identifies himself as servant of Krishna. Therefore, he is Nirmal, he is liberated. He does not identify himself as Kshatriya, Brahman, American, Indian. No, that is not his position. But so long I stick to this designation, I am not Nirmal. I am Samal with dirty things. So we have to be relieved from these dirty things and come to the original position of Krishna consciousness. Then our spiritual activity and its reaction will be countered.
With Varnashram, will the people be happy even though within the material world?
The system of the whole Varnashram was to gradually educate people to be elevated to the spiritual platform for understanding Krishna consciousness. That was the whole scheme. Every human being was given a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. That is considered as human civilization. The social system observing Varnashram Dharma was so perfectly made as the king would see that they are actually being executed. In this way, people were very, very happy, even in this material world, because Everyone was confident that he was making progress to go back to home, back to Godhead. That is human civilization.
But Prabhuji, how do we know that we are making progress in spiritual life back home, back to Godhead? What is the test?
Oh, see, Varnashram duties are there, but the aim was Vishnu. Therefore, here it is said, Dharma swanishtitas pumsam vishvaksena katasuya notpadayeda yadiritim. Even we execute the method of Varnashram dharma very nicely, swanishtitasya dharmasya. In another place it is said by Suta Goswami, Ata Bumbir Dudashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasha Swanishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. You execute your sectional duties as a Brahman. You can execute your Brahmanical principles as they are laid down in the Shastras, or Kshatriya, you can do your duty. But there should be a test whether you are becoming successful in discharging your duty. That test is Haritoshanam. Whether you have satisfied Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it is perfect. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Everyone should be perfect. Everyone should see perfection of his particular duty. This the example is Arjun Maharaj. Arjun is a Kshatriya. His duty is to fight, to give protection to the pure and annihilate the disturbing element. That is Kshatriya's duty. So Arjun was trained in that way. He was sober. But by his soldier's business, occupational duty, he satisfied Krishna. He fought for Krishna, not for his personal sense gratification. That is his test. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam.
Haritoshanam, yes. But exactly what's the test for satisfying Krishna? How do I know my duties are satisfying Krishna?
If you are doing it for Krishna, then you will develop attachment to Krishna. So, here also Sudha Goswami says, Dharma swanishtitasya pumsam vishvaksena kadasuya. You can discharge your duty very nicely, but you have to see whether you are developing attachment for Krishna. Attachment means love. Whether you are trying to satisfy Krishna. That is the test. If that is not done, simply formulas. If you execute the formula Niyamagraha without any satisfaction of Krishna, then Sutta Goswami says it is simply laboring and waste of time. Vishvaksena katasuya notpadayeda yadirtim shama evahi kevalam.
I understand it, it's true. I'm doing all this for love of God, but with my all activities and karma, if I'm not developing attraction for the personality of Godhead, then surely it's indeed a waste of time. The only gain is hard labor, no use.
Yes, exactly. So even one executes his swadharma very nicely, but if he does not develop his Krishna consciousness, then shrama evahi kevalam. This is also simply spoiling the life. On the other hand, Narad Muni gives his opinion. Tyaktva swadharmam ksharanam bhujam hare. If one gives up the occupational duties and takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, charanam bhujam hare, so even he is not mature and falls down from the devotional service on account of so many reasons, still he is not loser. Whereas a person who is executing his occupational duties very nicely, but he has no Krishna consciousness, no idea of Krishna consciousness, he doesn't get anything. He is a loser. Kovartha apto bhajatam swadharmata. Swadharmata, keeping in his own position as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. If he is executing his duties very nicely, but has not developed Krishna consciousness, then it is to be understood that he has lost everything. That is the verdict of Shastra. So, although we must try to act according to our position as perfect Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Shudra, etc., but the purpose is to satisfy Vishnu and develop love of God. If that's not happening, then it's a waste of time. So, even I acted as a perfect Brahman or as a perfect Kshatriya or as a perfect Vaishya or Shudra, still I am wasting my time. Still I am wasting my time. How? That is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma swanishtita pumsam vishvaksena katasuya nautpadayeda yadiritim shama evahi kevalam. Dharma means own dharma. Brahman's dharma, Kshatriya's dharma, Vaishya's dharma. There are different occupational duties. Do it. But side by side, you should test whether I am going to be perfect. That is required. That perfection, how is it made perfect? That is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what is that? Samsiddhir haritoshanam. What is that verse? Dvija Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Sunishritasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir haritoshanam. That is the test.
Yes, Prabhuji, I understand that. Prabhuji, is Varnashram is material or spiritual?
So the instruction of the Bhagavatam is Swanishchitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Your perfection will come when you perform your duties nicely for the satisfaction of Hari, Krishna. The activities in the four social and spiritual order of Varnashram system may sometimes appear material, but when they are performed for satisfaction of Krishna, they are no longer material, they are spiritual. Material simply means forgetful of Krishna, that's all. Otherwise, there is nothing material. Those who are not thoroughly Krishna conscious distinguish between material and spiritual. But when you are fully Krishna conscious, you see the oneness of everything. Ekatvam anupashyeta. This means that you see how everything is related to Krishna.
Prabhuji, who is a real Mahatma?
Every Krishna Bhakta, Krishna conscious person is a Mahatma, real Mahatma. How is it? Krishna says, Mahatmanastu maam partha daivim prakrutimashritam bhajantyananda manaso. That is Mahatma. Mahatma does not mean that if you dress yourself within a certain colored cloth and some big hairs and beard, then you become a Mahatma. No. The Mahatma, he is who? Daivim prakrutimashritam. He is not under the influence of external energy. Daivi Prakriti means there are two Prakritis, two natures, internal and external. Internal energy is spiritual energy and external energy is material energy. So Mahatmas, they are not under material energy. One who is under material energy, they are entangled with the three gunas, Sattvagun, Rajagun and Tamogun. So even in Sattvagun there is entanglement. Sattvagun means perfect Brahman. Satya, Shamo, Damo, Titiksham, Arjavam, Jnana, Vijnanamastikyam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavajam. Even if you become perfect Brahman with qualities, still it is bondage.
Where does a person in Sattvagun go after death?
So although there is bondage in Sattvagun, Urdam Gachanti Sattvastham, you can be promoted to higher planetary systems. But that is also bondage. Krishna says, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. If you remain within this material world, even if you are promoted to the highest planetary system, Brahma Loka, Satya Loka, still you have to accept material bondage, means Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Brahma, he also dies. Although he has got very, very long duration of life, he also dies.
And devotees go back to Krishna, right?
Yes. So Krishna therefore recommends Yadgatwana nivartante taddama paramam mama. If you come to my place, then you are no more under the laws of birth, death, old age and disease. Tyaktva deha punarjanma neti mam eti kaunteya. That should be the aim of life. Why should we go to the heavenly planets of Brahmaloka or any other material planet? We should go directly to the abode of Krishna, Golok Vrindavan. That is the aim of devotees.
And that is done by Bhakti Yoga, right?
Yes. So that aim you can fulfill by practicing Bhakti Yoga. That is mentioned. Bhakti pravrittatma rajastamopaha. So rajastamas, so long one is situated in the modes of passion and ignorance, there is no hope. There is no hope. But when one comes to the platform of Sattvagun, there is little hope of transcending. So Bhakti Yoga is above Sattvagun. In Sattvagun, in the mode of goodness, you can become a nice Brahman. But simply by becoming a nice Brahman, you are not free from the material bondage. When you become a pure Vaishnava, then you are free from bondage of material world. And any other question?
That is it, Prabhuji. I have nothing in my mind right now. We can move further, please.
Good. So that was the principles and the social system of Varnashram. Why Varnashram? Now we shall see how part of it. This is the practical aspect of the social system of Varnashram.
Okay.
Rama